Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. Randy Swaim joining us. Excited he's back. He's been with us having his podcast on for years now. And he is an amazing guest of honor, Marshall Goldsmith certified executive coach, so on and so forth. And he hails from Texas, Dallas Fort Worth area, but he's helping people and, personally, business wise, all over the world with his coaching for relevance. How are you today?
Good, good. I'm glad to be with you as always. So yeah, it's a welcome to be here again.
Well, thanks so much, Randy. For those that don't know a little bit about coaching for relevance, tell us the type of people you're looking to work with. And of course, you're not here just to get business. You're here
Yeah,
because you're always giving advice and talking about real life situations that put us in certain positions. And
yeah.
you have a way and knowledge of knowing how to walk someone through this process, whether it's personally, through business, whatever it is. But that's one of your goals. What else is coaching for relevance to you? Tell us.
Well, what I'll say, and it's very aligned with kind of a little bit, but where I bring a lot of my coaching and also my leadership aspects and also my neuroscience, because as you know, I'm now a certified master level neuroplastician with the Institute for Organizational Neuroscience in Germany, and the reason that is so valuable is neuroscience talks about how the brain works and functions.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? When you're talking about challenging situations or having to lead different people, guess what? You got to be aware of that and how that may be getting in the way or maybe not. And most of what I do is I bring all that to pilots and flight crews and jet pilots and things of that nature, but also developing instructors that are gonna that are doing that and things of that nature. I have worked with a few with some business leaders and stuff like that. But literally, if there's somebody that kind of wants some coaching and stuff, certainly they can reach out to me. That's true. So yeah, I'm just my passion is bringing freedom to potential in other people, and as you know, that's the title of my autobiography.
Beautiful. Yes, it is. And for today, where are we going to dive into? It's always a nice journey with you.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Hopefully, it's always a little bit of an adventure part of it. But yeah,
Yes.
what I thought I would do today, and I'll just give you an interest. And what I'll do is I'll bring a few things, a few different aspects of this that when you're talking about leading your team, particularly in a situation that is not rotely academic and just superficial, which guess what? Very little things are these days, kind of thing. But when you're talking about being successful and leading your team and things like that, I'm going to
Yeah.
bring one concept that a lot of people probably have think they have an understanding of, but I'm also going to bring some insights that bring out some ways that this is done dysfunctionally in today's world, but also some aspects about when you are doing this, what you need to be aware of, and some of that kind of thing. So it's real key. And what I'll go ahead and do, and I'll just mention the word, okay? And it's this word vision. You know what? If I were to ask one person, what's your vision? You know what? 9 times out of 10, people kind of go, well, here's what I want to do, and I want to
Yeah.
do this, and you know what? That's the dysfunctional picture of it. And I will say a lot of people
Hmm.
just want to get patted on the back and applauded and things like that. Um, and but when you think about this aspect of vision, what is it really to you? And the other part of it is, and I'll just share this very quickly here, but the when you're talking about vision, when you're thinking about what you're doing now, I will say this, when you're going into college or something like that, kind of thing as youth, and you're looking at what you want to do down the road. Yes, that vision can be more about you, but the other part of it is if your entire focus is just to I want a pat on the back and
Yeah.
to get applauded, you're not getting the job done because what is it that is going to make a difference that you bring, and what does that look like? And that is something that a lot of people sometimes don't think about. but the vision is really, what are you looking to do? In fact, I shared this on a previous show one time, quite some time ago, kind of thing. That you remember, I actually went to school, one of the top 10 aerospace engineering schools in the country. They work with NASA on a day-to-day basis. But the reason that I stepped away from it, my grades were okay and all that, but I wasn't let go or anything like that. But I stepped away from it because it was at that point in my life where I began to catch a real vision that for me and what I was all about was this aspect of leadership and bringing success to other people and making a difference. It wasn't just about the technical stuff. Now I learned a lot in that, and it certainly, that knowledge helps as I work with jet pilots and things like that. But when you think about this concept of vision, people have to get a sense of how that is often misunderstood, but also how you need to reapply it and re-see it and bring it to reality. And that's something that a lot of people sometimes don't think about so much. If you think about it, if I were to come up with if I were to walk up to somebody and say, well, what's your vision on where you're going? Well, I want to be successful. And I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to do that. Okay, well, that's cool. But what's the real vision about how you're going to do that? And what's the real value of it? And things of that nature. And what I will also say is that when you're talking about leading your team, the team that you lead in your organization or whatever, or if you're the owner of the company, the teams that you lead on that, um, to what extent do you really communicate and do you really inspire within those team members a real understanding of the vision on what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to accomplish? But that's also an aspects that when you're trying to accomplish something, perhaps something you haven't done before, guess what? Part of that role, and this is another part of true vision, part of that role is, as a team or as individuals, who do we have to become in order to make that happen? Kind of thing. And when you're thinking about those kinds of things, it's not just about bringing a little rote academic thing to the table and then wanting to get patted on the back for it, but it's really having a sense on what you bring. And like I said, and I think I shared this with you, Jill, long time ago. But the big thing on this, my whole vision in all
Yeah.
that I bring through coaching or through aviation or whatever, or even family, is simply that, what, people are better off, not because of anything I told them or not because of anything I told them to do, but because their insights were better
Yeah.
after we had some time together. And they were able to make the choices and clear the vision in their mind of as to where they're going. And if you think about it, particularly when you're talking about, a challenging environment that's not just rote academic, you as a leader have to understand that. And you also have
Yeah.
to communicate it in ways where your team understands that. And you just don't make assumptions and just go into rote academic things. And it's just a key aspect that sometimes when people think of that, they sort of miss out on. And when you're talking about the vision, if you think about it, when you're talking about a environment or a scenario that possibly your team is involved in, that is not road academic, and guess what? You may have some unexpected factors that sneak onto the team, you know, and guess what? How does that affect your vision? Is your vision clear enough where you truly understand how you may need to adapt it a little bit, or
Mm-hmm.
or persevere through it or whatever? But the other part of it is, if you think about it, um, do you have clarity on that? Or is people on your team going, oh gosh, geez, that's not supposed to be here, and that kind of thing. And if you do that, you're not getting where you want to be and you're not being successful. And so it's a real kind of sense on this when you're talking about this aspect of true vision and having true vision as you're stepping forward. And if you're shutting your brain off because just, hey, this is what we want to do, and you're not aware of unexpected factors that come on scene, you're not getting the job done and you don't have clarity of that vision. And one thing, if you think about with unexpected factors, and I'll throw this a couple of little points out. Guess what? If you have an unexpected factor that comes on scene, it's possible that that factor could orient and reveal a higher level of satisfaction and success
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't see at the beginning of it. And you know what? Are you aware of that? Do you have clarity on that?
Yeah.
And the other part of it too is if you've got, let's just say, 10 people that are on your team that you're leading and they're working and everything. How do you realize, if you think about it in terms of vision, part of your vision is what do you see in your team that maybe you didn't see at the very beginning? And one aspect about it is, guess what? Some of the members of your team may have been developed in their journey so that they are ready for
Yeah.
unexpected factors coming on the scene. And if as a manager your whole mindset is pointing fingers and telling people what to do, you're probably not getting the job done. And so when you think about it, and you think about this whole aspect of real vision, um, it's a key aspect that a lot of people don't think about in terms of what it really is and really means. The But if you get to a point where you truly have a sense of that, and you know where this is going, but true vision is not just say, here's what I want to accomplish. True vision is getting a sense for, okay, what are the risks in it, possibly, that might come on scene? And if so, what are we going to do? How are we going to be aware? Kind of thing. And so this aspect of your somebody's true vision or a team's true vision is sort of bigger and deeper than most people realize. It's not just a superficial thing. This is what we want to accomplish. We want to get this return on it, kind of thing. That may be something that you want to do, but the vision is deeper and bigger and more encompassing than that. And so leaders have to understand that a little bit. And, leaders need to kind of get a sense of, uh, what this vision really looks like and how are we going to bring that awareness in the team so that people are aware of that when maybe factors come on scene or whatever. And how are we as a team going to be ready for that? And how are we prepared when factors come on scene
Uh,
and everything but that aspect of vision, like I said, is not just we want to reach this number kind
yeah.
of thing. It's a lot deeper than that. It's because I'll tell you what, if you wanted to reach this number of successes, guess what, you may reach that but still not be any better. It may be that you got to that number because you got kind of lucky on a couple of things
True.
and and stuff like that. But the bottom line is, I was just going to throw that out there, that this aspect of true vision, when you're talking about thinking strategically for you and your team and getting their vision together for going forward. So guess what? If you get sick and you couldn't come into work today,
Mm.
can they still do that? And things of that nature. This concept of the true vision of your team and where you're going right now and what that looks like and how we're going to get there, and what are some of the factors that kind of sneak on scene on that. And in the
Hmm.
military, guess what, one of the things that I remember from all my time in the flying in the military and everything, guess what, anytime you were going to be ready to go to combat or whatever, if you had to be, guess what, you're aware of the weapons the enemy has in most cases, and you're aware of how you're going to do that. You have sort of a degree of vision with that so that you can be successful when you have to do that. And it's just a little bit of a collateral sort of picture with what I'm talking about here. But when you talk about your strategic thinking and your strategic vision. It's
Mm-hmm.
not it's not just superficial. It's not just simplistic. It's not just, well, hey, here's what we're going to do. Because a lot of people, and you'd be surprised at how many people I've heard do this in our society. But you'd be surprised at how many people I've heard people say, well, we're supposed to be doing this, and if it doesn't do that, they just blame something.
Yeah.
And well, you know, that is unprofessional and it's not right, because your vision, guess what? That may tweak a little bit. The strategic thing that you have to adapt to get there may be adapted just a little bit. And are you aware of when that's all happening? And so that concept of vision, it's not just having a picture in, we want to reach this return, or we want to connect with this number of people, or you know be able to go out and do this 4 or 5 times, kind of thing. That's not true vision.
Yeah.
That might be part of the steps that you want to help create it, but the true vision is deeper than that, and it's more encompassing than that. And as a leader, for people that might be listening, I just kind of throw this out as something to think about. As a leader, to what extent do you need to do things a little differently with your team to maybe prepare that radical success with their vision? Because if all somebody is doing is telling them what to do and just telling them, here's what we're going to do, here's what we want to accomplish, da, da,
Yeah.
da, 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 you're not getting the job done. And part of it, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, a lot of this, it's interesting that a lot of this aspect of it, when you're talking about this true vision, is not about what you tell people. It's about what they experience from you and what they kind of see with you, where you're sort of modeling it. And it's just it's amazing the reactions I get from a lot of the pilot clients that I work with, just in the way that I do that and what they experience with just connecting with me and everything like that. And that is huge when you're talking about the what your real vision is. It's not just, we want to get this return. No, I mean, that is something you want to do, but the true vision must be deeper and bigger than that, and more centralized.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that vision that should truly prepare and give radical results and make people. And I'll tell you, I've been I've been to this once or twice in my life journey, but one of the things that people sometimes don't think about is at the end of something, when they realize you just met what you were trying to accomplish and people are applauding you for it,
Mm-hmm.
people going, wow,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
how did we really do that? I mean, how did that really happen? Kind of thing. And that's a certain aspect of getting that clarity on vision. And so I just wanted to kind of share a little bit. We got a few minutes left and
Yeah.
stuff, but I just wanted to share that with the listeners, that when you talk about this aspect of strategic thing and having the vision so that you can plan your strategy and all of that kind of stuff and be ready for factors and everything. But the bottom line is, when you think about this aspect of true vision, in what ways do you need to rethink it? In what
Yeah.
ways do you need to be ready for it in a different way? And make it so that your team, the members of your team that you're leading, actually have that same mindset and same vision, even without you dictating them to them. If you're developing them in such a way where they automatically have that kind of a picture in their mind, and it's not just about what they want to accomplish, it's
Yeah.
how we're going to get there. And what are we doing, and what are we going to do when things are maybe a challenging moment or whatever. And so all of those things, when you're talking about this concept of true vision in a strategic aspect of where you're trying to accomplish something with you and your team, it's a key aspect that a lot of people don't think about so much in today's world. But it is a very key aspect, and it's a very centralized aspect of really reaching success. And so I just thought I'd throw that out there just as our concept for today, because it's a little bit deeper, a little bit different than a lot of people think about. A lot of people say, well, here's what we want to accomplish. Well, okay, so
Uh-huh.
how are you going to do that? And what do you have to do to do that? And why? And and uh, and I know a lot of people. You think I've had people, and I think I shared this with you, Jill. I've had people ask me when I'm going to retire, and I go, when I take my last breath, because you know what? I'm going to keep bringing my vision till I run through the tape, kind of thing. And it doesn't mean that they have to remember my name, but I want that, things that I brought and just some insights, um, something that people kind of gained an insight from, and it sort of help them grow and become on one aspect. And that's just a key point on it. When you look at this aspect of vision, it's not just about we want to reach 25 people or whatever. I mean, that might be something you want to do, but the true vision is deeper and bigger than that. And what are you really trying to bring in that vision when you're talking about what you're trying to accomplish? So I just leave that with them for something to consider and give some thoughts to.
Oh my goodness. Always inspiring, Randy. I don't know where you get it from. I mean, do you ever, I'm trying to picture you. Do you ever vacation and relax? You're so on point, so always on. How do you relax? Do you ever get to relax?
Well, you know what you just said. By the way, thank you for the question,
You're
because
welcome.
what if you think
Question and
about
observation. It's all in the one, but go ahead.
but what you just asked is a central aspect about this too, because when do I get that? Because with what I try to bring and all that kind of stuff, even when I'm just sitting down watching TV, I look at things from a perspective of what that's sharing in light of that sort of thing. And do I relax when I'm sitting at home? Yeah, I do, very much so. But when I get insights, I sense them, they become clear to me, and it's like, wow, yeah, yeah, you didn't think about that before, or whatever, kind of thing. And so for me, the peace comes when I see people that have a little bit of a difference, kind of
Yeah.
thing, that where they become something even better than they were, perhaps. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, the peace realizes that, and this is the short way of saying it. But for me, the peace is whether I'm home or whether I'm out connecting with people. For me, the peace comes from the fact that it's not about me. It's about them, you know?
Yeah.
And when I don't take it on myself as the focus, but I bring some insights that make them better, everything in me goes, yeah, yeah. And I and I and I'm at peace. And so that's for me, that's the big thing on it. So yeah, the short answer to your question, yeah, I get plenty of rest at home and all that kind of stuff. But but it does but where I get rest, even if it's a little bit busy, bringing that and letting
Yeah.
that be it makes me feel at peace inside.
Ah,
And so that's a key part of mine.
beautiful. All right. We still got 3 more minutes left. I'm not cutting you short.
Okay.
What else should we discuss? Because there's always something else going on. The movie.
Well, I will tell you this. I'll just mention this very quickly. Thank you,
You're
because
welcome.
the autobiography was published on Amazon, as you know, but also about a week ago. It was about a week and let's see, it was about a week and 4 days ago, kind of thing, that the AEMG folks were the marketing people, and I signed our contract. And last week they started marketing the Hollywood movie documentary that is out there about my life story. And guess what?
Aw.
A
What?
lot, a lot of what I kind of brought out today is in there, not in an academic sense, but you just see some of the pictures of how that affected my life, and stuff. but they're out there for about the last week. AEMG has been out there marketing the Hollywood movie documentary My Life Journey, and it's my understanding is they're going to be putting it on um, uh, 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 HBO, I think, and I think they're going to be putting it on Netflix too, from what I understand. But they're going to be posting it all over, and then every quarter, I'm going to get the return on it. And I think I mentioned to you before, I thought
Yeah.
I was going to get like 10% of the return, but the sponsors at Podcast Business News Network here, the sponsors called and said that with my story, which is in the movie, with my story, they thought that if they only got 30%, that would give them back all their money and profit. And so they asked PBNN to let me have 70% of the return on the movie. And so,
Wow.
I'm just so appreciative of the Podcast Business News Network sponsors, and in the contract it was signed that way. So it blows my mind that that is, but they're out there marketing it right now and marketing it all over where people can purchase it and all that. And it's it's really a kind of a picture, because what we talked about today was really kind of a key central theme of much of my life.
Amazing.
And so, yeah, it's been amazing, but I'm amazed that the movie is out there and is going to be getting out there more, and the marketing folks are out there, kind of marketing it. So yeah, I'm
Working
just
hard.
humble that. And you know what, if it brings some insights from
Yeah.
lessons learned and from my life, and it brings a positive insight to somebody else, even if they don't remember my name, I'm okay with that. No, I'm good with that. So
We
yeah.
will, though. We will. Thank you so much, Randy. Tell us how we can reach out to you, please. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's Randy Swaim, Marshall Goldsmith Certified Executive Coach, as you said, and my website, Coaching for Relevance. If you go there, at the very bottom of the homepage, you see that it has my email, and it also has my cell phone number. So you can, if somebody wants to reach out and call me, and I think you know this because I've said it a number of times, but if somebody wants to call and have a conversation, I don't do sales pitches with them. If they have a need, yeah, we'll come up with something. But if they just want to have a conversation, I'll welcome that. So it's if you go to my website on the homepage at the very bottom, you can see how to connect with me.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you. And we'll chat again next week, I'm sure. Have a great day, Randy. Thank you again.
Okay, well, it's always a pleasure being here with you, Jill. You have a
Ditto,
great one.
ditto.
Okay.
You too, sweetheart. Bye bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.